You don't need a huge audience to get fractional CMO clients, but you do need to stop looking for clients like a freelancer because businesses do not hire fractional CMOs the same way they hire someone to help with marketing. I'm just Shira. I'm a fractional CMO, and I also teach marketers how to package, price, and step into the CMO role inside of Fractional CMO School. Today, I'm going to break down the top 3 methods I used to get clients when I first started and still use today, the common mistakes that make them not work, and a simple start here plan at the end so you're not just inspired, you're ready to actually take action and get clients at the end of watching this video. Okay, so before we get into the 3 ways, I need you to understand this one thing. If you're trying to get fractional CMO clients and it's not working, you're probably doing things that are messing with your positioning as a leader. Maybe you're posting educational content and hoping the right person magically finds it, or creating freebies to generate leads. And high ticket clients do not buy that way. They're not going to come through a freebie funnel. And most likely, the high ticket clients are not the ones consuming educational how to content. This role can be tough at first because you're not selling something tangible like social media management, you're selling leadership. And when you're selling leadership, you can't approach it like hire me to help with marketing. You have to come from a place of, I see the problem or opportunity. I know what to do and I can own this. I was talking with a student of mine the other day about her pitching and trying to generate some new leads. And one of the things she had mentioned was DMing someone and saying, hey, do you have anyone helping you with marketing? And you're automatically setting yourself up for a failure there because we're not helping with marketing. That automatically puts us in a bucket of an order taker or somebody who's going to be executing. So we're not going to use that language. Most people are qualified for this CMO role way earlier than they think. But the thing is, they're just still speaking in contractor language. So they struggle to sell themselves. We don't want to be saying the wrong things because we're positioning and setting ourselves up from the get-go in the wrong light. Now I'm going to hop into the 3 fastest ways to get clients. But the key is the nuance and detail within each one. So listen to the details. I'm going to point out some mistakes as I go through all of these, and make sure you stick around for number 3 because the key is how you show up in each one. Okay, number 1, your warm network. The first way is to leverage your warm network. And I know that people avoid this because they're like, oh, I don't want to bother anyone. I don't want to sound salesy. I don't want to be awkward or annoying. But most of the time, the reason this doesn't work is not because your network can't help you or doesn't want to. It's because you're doing it in a way that makes it impossible for them to refer you. The 3 biggest mistakes that people make with network outreach is number 1, you send a vague update instead of a referral message. So you say something like, hey, I'm doing marketing consulting now. Okay, cool. What does that mean? People can't refer you if they don't really understand what you do and who you do it for. Your network needs to be so clear on what you mean when you say you're a fractional CMO or who you help, what problems you help solve. They need a clear mental picture so that when they're thinking about it, it's easier for them to make that connection. Do I know someone that needs this? Mistake number 2, you make it about you instead of your ideal clients. Your message is basically your resume and nobody knows what to do with it. So your network actually needs to know who you can help. And when you're specific, that's where they get ideas coming to mind. For example, when I first started, initially when I did my outreach, I said, hey, I'm a fractional CMO. Let me know if you know anyone that needs my services. And the more I started talking with my network, the more I realized, okay, I need to be way more specific because they would ask me questions like, what kind of clients can you work with? And at that point in time, it was tough for me because I was like, oh, I can help anybody. And ultimately, that just made it harder because no one came to mind. Once I started getting specific and saying I work with creators, I worked with direct to consumer e-commerce brands, then suddenly they were like, oh, my cousin this, or oh yeah, this other founder that I met last week at this event. It helped jog their memory when I was more specific around who I could support and the kind of problems I helped them solve. So your network needs to know who you can help and get specific here. Share an example of the kinds of clients that you've worked with and how you can help them or who you've worked with in the past. So mistake number 3, you don't give them words to use. Even if someone wants to refer you, so they understand what you do, they understand who you do it for, people are busy. If they have to do the work, even if they want to, sometimes they will forget or they will put it off because it feels like they don't have the time or it's a bigger lift than they have time for. So I always like to make sure that when I'm reaching out to people, I'm giving them the verbiage or I'm saying, you can forward this email. I'm writing it in a way where if they were to just pass it on to someone they know, it's approachable and it's phrased in a way that the direct end client can make sense of it and it's speaking to them and their pain points. So make it easy. Make it easy, easy, easy for when you reach out to your network. So a quick summary, if you are reaching out to your network, your message needs to cover three things: who you help, what problem you solve, and what to do next or how to refer you, and really give them the language for that. If you want my booked out CMO outreach templates with plug and play messages for reaching out to your network and following up, I'm going to link it below. So grab it, tweak it to your voice, and let me know how it goes. And those are completely free. Also, two most important tips that I want to cover for sure when I talk about direct outreach is do not only message your best friends and family. You will get referrals from people that you least expect it, and you will probably get radio silence from the ones that you thought would have been really supportive. It's just the way it goes. So when you're building out your list, you really need to leave the shame behind and put everybody on the list, everybody that you know, former colleagues, acquaintances, random internet friends. You're reaching out to everybody because you just never know who they're connected to and who they might know that could need your services. And I have had leads come in from people that I would least expect it. One of my very, very first came from a girl where her and I worked together at Lululemon for maybe a month. And then she moved on to a new role and I was brand new. And I remember adding her to my list and thinking, I don't even know if Laura's going to remember me. And she was so supportive. She said, Jess, I'm so happy to hear this. And I actually know this person and that person. She made multiple connections for me. And I almost didn't reach out to her. The last tip, the second tip here, don't skip follow-up. People are busy. I know that cold outreach or network outreach can feel weird. And it feels weird because a lot of people do it in a really gross way. But if you're personable and doing it in a way that is authentic to you and your voice and you're being real and human about it, you don't need to feel weird about it. And you also don't need to feel weird about follow-ups. I follow up with people up to 8 times. And I have gotten clients that way, including Jenna Kutcher and many others on the however many 10, 11, 12 follow-up because people are busy. And often I will hear, oh my gosh, thank you so much, Jess. I've just been sprinting and so busy. And thank you for following up. So don't skip the follow-up. Do it more times than you feel comfortable doing. I only really stop when I get an outright no. All right, way number 2, partnerships. This is so underrated and so easy to scale. So when I say partnerships, I mean someone who already has your ideal leads. The way you can think about it is if you have a niche, or even if you aren't really sure about your niche, test a niche for a couple of months, zoom in to okay, I think I can help this kind of person. It also gives you a lot more ideas of where they might be hanging out. And then you can ask yourself, where does a group of my ideal client live right now? For example, when I started, one of the niches I was testing out was membership-based businesses. I knew there was some online free membership building communities. I knew that there was membership building platforms that hosted events and had communities themselves. And they also had client testimonials and I could get some business names on there. And once I niched down, it was so much easier for me to see, okay, I think I can see where these people are hanging out. And then identify partners who've already built an audience of my ideal client. So what you're going to do is you're going to work on building these relationships with these potential partners. And the ideal state is they are sending leads through to you. And the way that I like to structure these is I really like them to be reciprocal. So I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. And just to give you some ideas for a fractional CMO, potential partnerships that might work would be brand or website designers. So people who are serving the same client base that you're in, fractional CFOs, fractional COOs, or agencies that specialize in another area. So maybe they do paid ads in the space that you want to specialize in. So think through who is already serving my client base, right? And something to keep in mind, partnerships are ongoing, they're structured, they're value based and reciprocal, and they usually involve a referral fee or kickback. So, some sort of agreement or something in place that incentivizes them to send leads through to you. And what I have done too when I've structured these is I've always thought to myself, what is in it for them? Why are they going to be incentivized to either introduce me, connect me, or send leads my way? And the way I see it is I like to think about, okay, what are their goals and how can I make them win? How do I help them? How do I make them look good for their clients so that it's a win-win no matter what? So think through that, right? What most people do wrong in this space is they will ask for referrals before there's a relationship and trust. They don't necessarily know the partner or agency, and that agency doesn't know them. And if you think about it, word of mouth and our reputation is often the biggest thing when it comes to getting business and growing our business. And we want to be really mindful of who we're recommending to clients because we don't want it to reflect poorly on us. So building those relationships are so important. And as a CMO, you're going to be building those relationships as you're working with clients and potentially maybe pulling in some of the same partners. So focusing on that will be really important. Another mistake is not formalizing anything. So leaving it kind of loosey goosey around referral details or what is your process for referral? Because if you just reach out and you're like, hey, and even if you've got a good relationship but you're like, we've got the same client base and if anyone comes your way, you might get $1,000 from me or something. The thing is, if there's nothing formalized that's like we do X or once a month we're going to blank, then it just tends to be something that is forgotten. People are busy, they don't remember. And so formalizing what your partnership arrangement looks like. And then lastly, big mistake is, and I mentioned this already, but not considering what's in it for the partner. So how are you making them look good? How are you incentivizing them to want to send leads your way? So what you're going to want to focus on, genuine connections. If you don't have these, you're going to need them anyways. So start building up these relationships, because when you can bring in great partners for your clients to fill a gap, maybe they need a branding project done, or maybe they need a really good paid ads agency. And it's great for you to have this Rolodex of people that you trust that you can bring in to support your client. Once you have these and the relationships there, the same ingredients apply as the network outreach, but you'll want a clear referral deck to share with them. So you're going to be reaching out. You're going to be saying, hey, I have this new referral program. Here's all of the information about it. And get on a call with them, walk them through it. Also, you can ask them, what would make this amazing for you? What do you need? How can I help you and your clients and your flow? So, really building this out as a collaborative thing with them. If you're curious, I share my partner strategy and referral deck and program inside of Fractional CMO School. And that alone has brought in over $500,000 for me in the last year, probably more. Okay, way number 3 is cold pitching. So this can be a little slow at the start, but this is such a great way to get clients when it's done well. I have got some of my best clients this way. Here's the thing though, most people will try it once and feel weird about it, not follow up, feel gross, and decide it doesn't work. Or they won't even try it because they have this weird feeling from really bad cold outreach or DM outreach that they've experienced in the past. And the thing is, 95% of people are not doing this well. So if you do it well, I guarantee you will stand out. Cold pitching as a fractional CMO is not, hi, I do XYZ. Do you want to hire me? Or, hey, do you have anybody helping with marketing? No, 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 no. We are not doing that. And we're also not doing that weird thing like, I did an audit for you. Do you want me to send it over? No. Ugh. All of the tips you see online, or most of them, are just complete garbage. So just ignore them. What you want to say is very, very personalized. Hey, I see this opportunity in your business, or I noticed XYZ and I know how to support you, or I know that we can do XYZ and I'd love to walk you through that. That is how I've landed calls with so many people. I got Jenna Kutcher that way. I had calls with Mel Robbins, Natalie Ellis, all these people that constantly get so much outreach cold. And I was able to capture their attention because of how I did the outreach. So let's talk about what makes a cold pitch actually work, because there are ingredients that matter when you're cold pitching. So again, personally, I'm not going to copy paste. No, no, no. This is not about sending out thousands of copy paste generic messages. Doesn't work. And also, I will say, we don't need a lot of clients, like 2 or 3 clients, and you could be making 30, 40, 50K a month. You don't need volume. So we don't need to be spamming and going out there with thousands of generic messages. Number two is you want your message to be valuable. So what's in it for them? Again, how are we incentivizing them to want to take time out of their day and hop on a call with us? Number three, confident. Don't be afraid to hurt anyone's feelings. Don't beat around the bush. If you see an opportunity, if you see something that could be done better, if you're looking and you're like, you're leaving money on the table, be honest, be a leader. What is that saying? Clarity is kind. Clear is kind. That's what we want to be here. We don't want to sugarcoat things. Number four, concise. Because nobody cares yet. You're going to pull in all of your social media, scroll stopping, hook knowledge here and think through what's going to get them to open. What's going to get them to read and automatically keep wanting to know what's going on here instead of deleting, because you have like 0.5 seconds. You don't have a lot of time to capture their attention and convince them that this is something worth paying attention to. Number five, a clear action step. So no, let me know, nothing vague. You want to propose, hey, hop on a call with me. I have something for you, right? You really want to be clear what the next step is here. The biggest mistake that I see people make here is writing an essay, like a very, very long email. Don't do that. Don't make people work because they will not read the thing. They're going to skim, and you don't need to cram every detail into the email. All you need to do is create enough interest and intrigue for them to want to hop on a call with you. Then you can explain everything, what you do, who you are, your background, all the things. But this is really just to get them on a call. The other thing too is sometimes people will try to sound authentic and they end up sounding like a bestie, or they're starting off on this unprofessional footing. And I am by no means all buttoned up and super professional, but at the same time, you do want to come from a place of authority and leadership. So just be being mindful of your tone. All right, so I'll give you a sentence here that you need to steal. This is just rough positioning. There's lots of others in that downloadable free guide I mentioned, but something along the lines of, I'm a fractional CMO. I help insert type of business. And then what do you help them do? Get more ROI from their marketing, understand exactly what they should do to grow, like lots of different things, right? By leading their team and strategy. So they're focused on only the most needle moving activities. So that for you is your elevator pitch, like how you can kind of sum up what you do. And when you are doing cold outreach or talking to your network, or you're even out and about, this is such a great sentence for people to kind of immediately understand what you do. Positions you as a leader who is driving outcomes and results, not the person that does everything. We don't want to say, I help with marketing. I do marketing. No. We don't want to say that because that's not the case. Don't want people misunderstanding and being like, great, you can do all my social media content. No. All right. Then you can add one line that answers why them and why now. So not like, I love your mission or followed you for so long. No. We want to be specific here around something. And I'll give you an example. When I pitched Jenna Kutcher, I had found her actually not even that much earlier on through a friend of mine and came across her book. I think she was promoting it at that time. And I listened to it and kind of watched some of her content. And she had mentioned she was in a pivot in her business. She was in this space of like, what's next? What am I changing? What do I want to do here? And I could tell it was a time of growth and change for her. So I brought that up in my message to her. And I said, look, I know you're going through some changes. I can imagine you would love some fresh eyes on your marketing. And I can also see outside looking in so much opportunity, so many low hanging fruit pieces that we can easily tweak and shift so that you can get better results. And it was that alone, like a message similar to that, that piqued her interest enough because it was personalized. So you need to be willing to be direct because clients want an expert, a leader, an authority that they can trust, someone they can lean on. I like to say, I sit beside my clients. I'm not under them. We are peers and I'm there advising them. And I'm the sounding board for them. So I want them to feel like I've got this. I've got the steering wheel, because otherwise they're going to jump in and take over. They want to feel like you're in control and you trust yourself and your own instincts. So we want to make sure that you're showing up as confident enough to tell them the truth, not just tell them what you think they want to hear. And finally, your CTA, again, when we're doing this outreach message, be confident, be valuable, be considerate of their time. So I'd love to chat about the opportunities I'm seeing and what I would prioritize. Let me know if you have some time to connect in the next couple of weeks. So what you're You're asking, you're showing the ways you can help them, and you're giving them flexibility in terms of what that looks like for connection. I'm not asking if they want help too, I'm offering it. I'm saying, hey, I see something here. Let's connect. I'm also not making scheduling complicated. A lot of the time, especially when you're pitching dream clients who are maybe well known, they've got a lot going on in their business, particularly if they have kids, they're mid launch, or, juggling a lot with growth in their business. I don't love the idea of sending over a calendar booking link. Like, you're just making them work too hard and jump through too many hoops. I like to ask them to give me some times, and I will do everything I can to make one of those times work for them. My goal is to show up as a leader and make it so easy and effortless for them to hop on a call with me and make them feel like this is going to be valuable no matter what. So the combination of being confident, being considerate, etc., that is what makes people say yes. You're removing all the barriers. You're not making it difficult to schedule. You're not giving them an essay to read. You're also showing up with value, which a lot of people honestly don't do. That alone is going to put you ahead of 99% of people cold pitching. And something else to know about cold pitching, so you don't lose your mind when you're doing it, it's a volume and iteration game. And I don't mean thousands. Like I said, we don't need a lot of clients, but I'm also not going to tell you that you can reach out to 5 dream clients and you're going to land them. I mean, maybe, hopefully, but I do find at the start when you're first doing it, you do want to send out more, maybe 20, 30, 50 messages, and you're going to iterate as you go because you're going to learn particularly what your niche, what your ideal client is responding to. And you want to be getting out there and really putting in the reps so that you can start hopping on calls. That's how you learn, is by talking to your ideal client and getting really clear on the language they use and what matters to them. And then again, I will say this over and over, the fortune is in the follow-up. So do not skip follow-up. You're going to follow up minimum 6 times, 8 plus if you are daring. And the amount of times, again, that I've gotten a reply on like the 7th, 8th, 9th time, and they've said, oh my God, Jess, thank you. This has been such a busy quarter. Please follow up. Don't assume that someone's annoyed or not interested. Why not assume the other thing, that they're busy and they want to reply. They just haven't had time, right? Like, let's assume that. Let's think positively over here, right? And you are not annoying. You're not bothering people. You have to remember to have faith in your experience. You can come into their business and help them. And you can see that outside looking in. So imagine what happens when you get to look under the hood and really see what's going on inside their marketing and their business. You can help them. So if you don't share, if you don't follow up, if you don't outreach, you're actually doing the world or your ideal customer a disservice because they don't know you exist and they can't get your help. They can't work with you if they don't know you exist. So remember, your expertise can help people. And you know that you're offering leadership to businesses that are wasting time and money right now because they're not focused on the right things. That is so valuable and they need you. They need your expertise. So please keep that in mind when you're thinking about sales and cold outreach because it just does not have to be bad or cringe or gross. And I totally get that it can feel that way, but when it's done properly, it can feel great, it can work, and it can be very, very well received. And again, I will link my exact cold pitch templates below, and they are the exact templates that landed me calls with people like Mel Robbins, Natalie Ellis, Jenna Kutcher, Lori Harder, and many more. And I wasn't networking with them. I didn't know anybody in that circle of online business owners. They didn't know me. I just reached out cold and pitched. So steal the templates, steal the structure, and then update, tweak, send your messages, get your dream clients. Okay. If that felt like a lot, I'm going to give you a really simple start here plan so that you know exactly what to do over the next 30 days. So week 1, you're going to do warm network outreach. You're going to make a list of everybody on your LinkedIn, email, past colleagues, friends, family, etc. You're going to email them and make sure you're scheduling your follow-ups. You don't need to do 8 follow-ups with your friends and family. That's a bit nuts, but maybe do 2 or 3. Then week 2, we're going to move on to partnerships. Build out a list of 10 potential partners that you either have a relationship with or that you want to start building a relationship with. Reach out to them and start a conversation. And if you already know them, share a referral deck and ask for a 15-minute call just to talk through what you're doing, what you're thinking, how you could collaborate together. And reminder, if you want my referral deck, my whole process around this, it is inside Fractional CMO School. So I'll link everything below. Week 3 onward, this is where you're going to start doing cold pitching. So I want you to send 5 personalized pitches per day for 2 weeks with follow-ups. You might be like, oh my God, Jess, that's a lot. And it is. But the thing is, when we get our reps in at the beginning, that's when you learn and you get better and better and better. So that next time you do it, you need to send out less and your response rates are better. Your conversion rates are better. So we're going to go kind of hard at the beginning to get our reps in, shake out all those weird, uncomfortable feelings, and really start to refine what we're doing. Track your responses, iterate as you go based on what is and isn't working. And if you do this for 30 days, you will have so many conversations. And conversations and connection is how you get clients the fastest way. Now, in the next video, I'm going to show you how to package your fractional CMO offer, because if you don't package it properly, you'll get clients and then you will hate your life. If you want the full system, positioning, offer packaging, pricing, how to sell yourself as a fractional CMO confidently, and how to actually do the role once you get clients, that is exactly what I teach inside of Fractional CMO School. So check out the link below to learn more. And if this helped, subscribe and tell me in the comments what you're doing right now for getting new clients and where you feel stuck.